and welcome to a new video. I know the last one was quite emotional. I do feel a bit better, and something that makes me always happy is goal setting. So I thought this is the perfect time to talk about that because it's a new month and there's a lot to talk about January and moving forward. So let's get started with that. So I'm combining two goal systems. The first one is on paper with this really beautiful Cultivate What Matters Powersheets goals planner. And then I also have a Trello board. Actually, I have two. I have actually three. I have more. But yeah, I have a lot of goals planning, kind of like a bigger system. But today we're just going to talk about doing a recap of January and planning for February. For this year, I have 9 goals and I like to try to work on most of them at the same time. And because I'm really into mini habits, tiny habits, whatever you want to call them, but really small things over a longer period of time, which also means that most of the goals that I'm pursuing at the moment probably will first be achieved in summer, in fall, maybe even first in winter, and that's part of it. I could choose to do it differently, but I really like to have the variety and seeing a bit progress everywhere. I do break down my goals into quarterly goals, but I don't use the quarter of the year. I use seasons. So currently we're obviously in the winter season, so this is from December to February, and then in March spring will start, and with that I will have new goals for that season. I will definitely give you a bit like a deeper dive into how I'm breaking my yearly goals into quarterly goals and how I'm using my season by season Trello board here to map out what I want to work on. Sometimes, most of the time, I find a word that fits quite well. Sometimes I first find a word afterwards. That really depends. But the season by season Trello board really helps me to see what I've already working on, how far I've come. But it's also like a notebook to collect ideas. Usually I don't end up here at the end of the month and think, oh, what could I do next month? It's usually already things that I'm coming up with, and this is something I have learned on the way. Usually I would start something and then, I don't know, after 2 weeks I would give up because there's something else, a new shiny thing that I wanted to try, and then I would do that, and then I would regret that I stopped the other thing, and then I started a new thing. And you don't stay consistent with that. You first have to progress in something and then you can add the next thing. And so this is often a collection of all the things that I want to do at one point, and often I have ideas for a general thing or maybe just for the next month. So in January I thought it would be actually nice to have like a self-love theme for February. I mean, Valentine's Day and all of that. So I thought that's probably a good idea to look into some habits that kind of like tie together with that. So first, let's look into how January went. I have my tending list here. Well, what can I say? There are a few things that I didn't manage to do, but something that really worked was doing my glute bridges. I have like a monthly fitness challenge. In December was jumping jacks, and this month it's glute bridges. And I think I wanted to do mountain climbers for next month. With my injury, I have plantar fasciitis at the moment. We don't do that. So I think I will switch into maybe doing a plank challenge. That would be fun. And I also had planned to complete the 5-week low impact challenge by Kamoya Ferry. I'm so close. I think I have like 6 workouts left, and yeah, now I have to stop and have to change my whole workout program for the next weeks, but we'll come back to it. I will finish it maybe in March or maybe in April. Hoping for that, at least. Something that I have started is the Harry Potter challenge. It is from a virtual challenge called Conqueror Challenge, and they have different distances, and when you have reached that distance, you get a medal. And I'm working on a Harry Potter medal. I have 113 kilometers to go, or whatever kind of exercise you use, I've decided to say I have to do 113 YouTube workouts, and there's only one counting per day, so even if I do several ones, only one counts. So it probably will take not just 113 days, because I'm also doing other things. I have days off, so I'm guessing, like, my estimate is to finish at the end of August, so we'll see. But I'm really proud that I've just started and have completed 9 days so far, so 9 kilometers. Let's take a look at my weekly habits that I've been working on during this month. The first one was to do painting by numbers, because one of my goals is to be more creative. It is definitely one of the lower priorities, so you can also see it here, because I only did I did twice. I also realized that I had planned as a goal for my season to have 1/3 of the painting finished. And that's not going to work, because I'm painting all 3 parts with a number that I have. Like, all the colors have different numbers, and then I just paint all of them. So it definitely won't work with like having one finished and the other 2 not. I have to come up with a different goal. But we will do that next month when I'm setting a new goal for the season. Another goal was to take pictures of my outfits, because I want to work on improving my style, or actually finding my style. And it didn't do that much. It's mostly actually because of the weather, because it's still dark when I'm getting ready and dressed for work. And then when I come back, it's also dark. So I just don't get into taking pictures, but maybe we can do that a bit later. I think I will take it out for February now. Then another goal was to track my expenses, and I did that very regularly, almost every day. Sometimes I forgot, and then I just did it on the weekend, and that's totally fine. I feel like we're pretty solid with that. And the last one was to plan every Sunday. I try to use my Sunday evenings to plan out next week. This is something that I want to go back into a routine where I plan regularly, and then also scrapbooking all my mementos that I have through the years. We haven't gotten there yet. I kind of hope that I would get more into that, but I think we first have to establish the routine of actually doing something every Sunday and then building up from there. So I'm kind of thinking I will actually keep this habit also for February. Let's talk about my daily habits that I worked on. First one is to study Italian. My goal is to reach A2 proficiency level in Italian for this year. And I would say before I started my Italian class, that was in end of January, I did pretty well. I completed several chapters in my bubble course, but it has been more tricky to keep up with my Italian homework and doing the vocabulary. I'm not sure if I should find a different time. So I think this is definitely going to stay in my habit tracker. We have to keep up with an eye on that. Another goal I have is to implement the Fly Lady system. It's a cleaning system, and it has like 31 baby steps. I kind of reduced it down to 12 habits, and one was putting on makeup, or it says fix your hair and face. I think that's what they're saying. And I think like this is a habit I've been working on for 2 months, and it is good enough to be completed. But a new habit that I added for January was to make my bed. And I also feel like very confident that I'm just doing that now. Most of the time I don't even have to remind myself of doing it anymore, because when I get out of bed, I make my bed right away. I know it's not super healthy. I know you should kind of like keep it a bit open, but yeah, I know it will be trickier to do it later. So we just gotta go with that now. I also have a love goal this year because I want to go on more dates. So I had like a habit that I had for the past 2 months, and I was to swipe right every day. And I would say it hasn't really worked out into dates yet, but I was pretty consistent with like finding every day somebody who you think, oh, this person looks nice. I know that next month will be really busy. It will be also emotionally taxing, and I'm not sure if I'm emotionally so open for other and new people. So I think I will take that away for next month, and then in March we can do a bit more with that there. My biggest goal for this year is weight loss. I want to reduce my body fat to 30%. And one of the things was to track the RKO method. It is a method from, I think, the Mayo Clinic. It stands for R stands for reducing, K stands for keeping off, and O stands for off days. And you track every evening what you have. And the idea is that you have more reducing days than keeping off days, and more keeping off days than off days. And I tracked that for the past 2 months now, and I can see that for example, for January, I had 52% reducing days, 26% keeping off days, and 22% off days. And I would say that didn't result in fat loss. So I kind of would take this habit, not as a daily habit anymore, but as a general monthly project to increase the numbers of reducing days. Just increasing by 1%, and then we'll see how far we get from that. But I think that would be 15 days in February. So maybe that's a good idea to work on in February. I also had a goal to increase different colors in my food, and that one was to eat more blue foods. Currently, there are not many blue foods here in Norway. I think it's just blueberries or blackberries, and the blackberries are so expensive. So I've been eating blueberries for most of the time, but I do see that it's just so normal for me to buy them every time when I'm in a supermarket. It's so easy to put just one handful with breakfast or my lunch. I also have it now at work. So I definitely have increased my berry intake, and I'm really proud of that. And I think we can actually go to the next one, and that will be to increase my green foods. Last one on my daily habits list is to put down my fork and knife while eating. I have to say that has been working really well. When I'm eating, I really focus on putting my hands in my lap when I'm chewing, and then taking the next and making the next bite. And yeah, I definitely see it has already slowed down my eating process. I wouldn't say I'm ready yet to say, okay, this was enough. I'm leaving food here on the plate. That's for later. Not wanting to work on that for February, but on a later point. Now, doing the tending list for February. Usually what I do is I don't fill out my tending lists right away. I often do it first a week later, because often I have to try a bit out. I have to try out the frequency. Some of the habits made sense when I thought about them, but then realizing, oh, this is not working, or I don't have a good cue to start it. Different things are happening. So usually I don't write it down and haven't written it down yet. But obviously I have already collected a few ideas during January in my season by season Trello board. And then I usually just use this really cute dotted notebook that I also got from Cultivate Wood Manners. And I just go from goal to goal, looking at, okay, what are things that I maybe want to continue with from the previous month, or what are things that I want to add. And then when I have done that, I put daily, weekly, and monthly in here and color the habits that I want to work on or goals that I have, depending on which category I think they should work. I always know that I have not that many daily spots in my planner, so I think I can have, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 7. I can have 7 daily habits, but that's quite a lot. So I try to keep it a bit less than that. And then monthly is often a little bit more for a project. And weekly can be really nice for things that only happen a few times a week, or something for example, I'm gonna work on the self-compassion workbook. And that can be a bit tricky in the beginning when it's quite a big project. Maybe not starting with that doing that daily and just saying once a week will be good enough for the beginning. It's always about first showing up, getting that in consistently, and then you can always increase intensity, quantity, whatever. So for my weight loss goal, I've decided on eating more green foods. I'm doing my plank challenge. Then I've decided to work on the Mindful Self-Compassion workbook by Kristin Neff and Christopher Germer. I've read her book about self-compassion, I think a few years ago. And then I bought the workbook and I never started. And now that I'm not so feeling so well, I felt like, and especially with the self-love theme that I want to have for February, I felt like this is a good idea to start that. It says in the introduction that you should work on it 30 minutes daily and do 1 to 2 chapters per week. That sounds a lot. I don't think that will happen. I think I take it with me when I'm traveling and then maybe doing a bit more every day there. But we will set the goal much smaller. I will say I will work on it at least once a week. And then if that's what I get done, then that is enough. And as I said, I want to work on the RKO method, reducing days a bit more. I've written down here to plan every Sunday and print out a picture because I want to get into the scrapbooking thing. But I first have to scrapbook the things I already have now in January. So I want to get back into that routine. We take it slow. I will be missing 2 days where I won't be able to plan a lot. So yeah, we'll see how much we get to do in that month. We'll see. I won't have any habits for my financial goal, but I will have one for my Fly Lady system. The next habit I've decided on is the Shine Your Sink. It's actually the first of the baby steps. It's the idea to just clean your sink every day. It wasn't the thing that I wanted to start with, but now I feel like this is a good thing to continue on because the kitchen is pretty clean most of the days now. The sink is not, so I hate to take out all this food stuff and then I wait for that, and obviously that's not a good idea. Yeah, so I think I'm totally ready to shine my sink every day. Obviously gonna continue on studying Italian. I have changed it from like a daily thing to a weekly thing because there are days in the week where I just know I don't get to study Italian on that day, so that's fine. As long as I do it a few times a week, that would be really sufficient, absolutely. I thought about like bombing my styling goal for this month, but then I found like a blog from a stylist who had like 60 tips for styling. And she was just like, for example, how many different things you can wear, how much jewelry and all of that. And I thought that's actually good because this is really easy to read. I can take out what I think is important from that, and yeah, won't take a lot of time to read it. So I'm just gonna set that as a monthly project that I'm gonna read through all these tips. And then because of my injury, I also put my plantar fasciitis routine, which is not super long. I would say if I do the full thing, it takes around 10 minutes. But I wouldn't say that I do it regularly yet, so we have to get into that habit. So I set it as a daily habit. I think this will be the highest priority of all the habits here. So that was my recap for January and all my goals and habit plans for February. I hope you enjoyed this video and I see you very soon. Take care. Bye bye.